This is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, today I am bringing you the biggest flagship launches of the year coming from Samsung and Apple. Now, these are going to be coming towards the second half of the year, so this is the August and September launches that everyone's going to be looking out for, especially because both companies have an X Factor coming, quite literally. And I'll explain what that is and what it even means. So, first of all, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, well, what about the S8? Isn't that one just coming out? The reason why I'm skipping over that one is because we've covered it so extensively on this channel. So if you do want to get information on the S8 and S8 Plus, please take a look at our past videos. I was actually the one who broke the whole display thing. Like, oh my God, Samsung is showing something on their Samsung display website. And that one went really viral. Like everyone covered it after. Again, they were giving us the idea of how their displays are going to be in the future. Also, we just covered the press leaked image that EvLeaks leaked out. So definitely check out that video as well. So if you want information on the S8, we have plenty on our channel. So go ahead and check that out. And I will actually leave those in the playlist, so that'll be the next video after this one for you. So that being said, let's get to first the iPhone section. So Apple is going to have two phones come out that are flagships, and they also, however, will have another release. And originally that was scheduled for March, as it is every year. Typically what happens in March is you have the iPads come out, as well as an SE model come out. Now, here is the thing though. Because Samsung has pushed back their launch, Apple might push back their launch. So typically Samsung comes out early March, Apple comes out end of March, beginning of April. Well, now Samsung's announcement is at the end of March and won't come out till April. So either Apple is going to adjust and make their announcement in March, but won't release till May or end of April, depending on when Samsung's launching. And again, we cover the possible dates on that again on the channel. When that happens, that's what we are going to get. We're going to get an iPhone SE. The reason why I do believe that it will be at most announced in March but won't be released till May is because we have not seen anything on it really yet. We haven't seen leaks on it, we haven't seen anything on it, but that is typically what happens. So you're going to get an iPhone SE. My guess is it will be a 6 SE. That's what I believe will happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think it's going to be a 6 SE or do you think it's going to be a higher end version? As well as you're going to have a new iPad Pro come out as well. And that one, we don't have too much information on it. It looks like it's going to be more of a bit of an upgrade. Apple is making a really strong push for all of their products becoming more productive. You see that in the Word and everything like that. Like, hey, look, this can replace your laptop. That's the whole idea of the market they're going for. Although, again, especially for the iPad Pro 12-inch, that has really not done well. Apple has been dropping quarter over quarter in terms of iPad sales in general. So I think you're going to see another 10-inch version come out, and that one's going to be the new main one. Now that being said, let's get to the first launch that Apple is going to have. And no, guys, they are not releasing an iPhone 8. Jesus Christ, every year the media gets this wrong. Every year there is an S phone coming out. The media says, oh, there's going to be an 8 this year. There's going to be a 7 this year. There's going to be a 6 this year. Look back. Every single website always does this. They always say, oh no, they're skipping the S this year. It's just going to go straight to this. They're going to make a big change. No, they're not. So, well, kind of this year. So Apple has switched to a 3-year plan now. What does that 3-year plan mean? Instead of a 2-year plan where they release a whole number in an S series, they are switching over to a 3-year plan, which we don't know exactly what it's looking like. It's shaping as we speak, but they have said that they're switching to a 3-year plan in one of their meetings. Last year, Tim Cook had said it in a meeting for shareholders. So they were switching to a 3-year plan instead. Now, the whole idea behind switching to a 3-year plan, it's going to be big change, little change, little change. That's the whole idea behind it. And that's what you saw with the 7. If you really think about it, the 7 was not a big change. So you saw a 6, a 6S, and a 7 with, again, no many changes. So this S series will stay, in fact, the same things, same prices, all of that. But the big difference this year is you're going to have a new category come out called the iPhone X. Now, a lot of people were saying this is going to be called the iPhone 7 Pro or 7S Pro or iPhone 8 in general. They will still maintain the normal numeric, but the iPhone X is going to be an entirely different category. Now, this phone is going to be the big change, but it will also be at a cost. It's going to be over $1,000 or right at that $1,000 mark. At cheapest price point, we're looking at $949. At most expensive for the baseline model, we're looking at $1049. So that's the range that you're looking at. It could even be $999, but this is the price point range you're going for with this phone. Now, this phone is going to have many different changes, and obviously this is not the exact phone. This is renders of it, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to have. So first and foremost, this is going to be an in-between size in screen, which is a gamble definitely for Apple, but I think they want to capture that market that has both the bigger screen and the smaller screen and kind of make both happy. So this is what it is. You're getting a physical phone that has a 5.8-inch display. However, it's only going to have a touchscreen part, meaning the part that your phone display and all your apps will actually cover, is going to be a 5.15. So it's bigger than the 4.7, but not as big as the 5.5 you'll find on the iPhone 7s Plus. So it's going to be really in between in terms of the actual size of the screen. The screen is almost right in the middle between that 5.2 sweet spot, so 5.15 will be it. I think they're actually going to call it 5.2 to be honest, because you can round up and that's how marketing works, but I think that's what's going to happen. However, the bottom area will be a function area, a evolution of Apple's trackpad as well as their iPhone 7s, a button that has replaced the home button. So that whole area is going to be replaced with a function area, but it's going to be pure touchscreen now. So you're actually going to see the display kind of bleed over into that area, which is a really cool effect, and I'm really curious to see how that will look for your function area. I really wonder if it's interesting since the whole thing, does that mean they're finally going to put like a back button in a sense? I mean, that's the biggest thing that's been missing from iOS that any Android user will tell you is amazing. So I think that's a really cool idea, and we'll have to wait and see if that's what happens. Overall, with this phone, you're going to have a few extras. The biggest one meaning what you see right now, which is an OLED display. Now, the OLED displays, of course, are coming from Samsung because Samsung makes all of Apple's screens to begin with, or the majority of it. You can always tell that, again, Samsung, this is $4.3 billion. They made about $15 billion off of Apple last year in terms of parts. Processor, RAM, battery, antennas, all this kind of stuff is made from Samsung for iPhones. Now, this is going to be one of the biggest things, though, is the OLED display, because that's something that Samsung has owned the market on. Now, the reason it's going to be called an OLED display instead of an AMOLED display is because while Samsung will make the majority of the screens, LG, Sharp, all these other companies are going to try to produce OLED displays as well. And, of course, you can't have, if it's just going to be OLED, then it doesn't matter who makes the screen. However, if it's going to be AMOLED, it has to be the AMOLED brand and have that reputation. But the whole idea behind an OLED display is it's much brighter. Just to give you an idea, the Note 7 went up to 800 nits. Most phones only go up to 400. The LG G6 that just came out went up to, I believe, 700 or 600, 650 or something like that. So the phones are getting brighter so you can see them outside more easily. And they only switch on automatically when you need it. For instance, if you put your brightness all the way up, it will not actually get to 800 nits. It'll actually still stay around 500 or so, depending on the manufacturer. But when you actually have a sensor to detect, oh, you're in a very bright light, let's turn it up, that's when it'll turn it up. So it's automatic. You cannot force it to turn up to the brightest bright, but you can put it all the way up bright and it'll be like 500 nits instead. It also can get darker than normal screens. So a Samsung display, for instance, you can actually have it all the way down and not disturb anyone inside of a movie theater. or inside of, like say you're laying in bed and you have someone next to you, they won't wake up from the display because it's that dark. So that's a real benefit of OLED. It also saves your battery life, so your battery life will be much longer. And the colors are also not only more vibrant, but more accurate. You can change it, and I'm sure, well, we'll see if Apple will allow you to change it. On Samsung smartphones, you can change if it's neutral color or vibrant color. And you also have adaptive, which just changes automatically. I know Apple will do that, but I wonder if they will allow you to change the display itself. If not, you're going to definitely be able to do that in jailbreaking. So that's one of the biggest things that Apple will have on this. And it's one of the reasons why this is going to be a higher price point phone. But not only will it be a higher price point, it's also why they're making it only on the highest version of it, because it's not going to sell as much compared to the 7S and 7S Plus. So that being said, because it won't sell as much, they can make less quantities because you're going to need a huge mass production. And that's why they're not just doing this from Samsung, they're doing this from other manufacturers, because Samsung cannot produce this many screens when they have to produce their own phones as well for OLED screens. It's one of the reasons why Samsung hasn't given the OLED screen to anyone else that sells as much as Apple. They have given it to companies like Motorola, Alcatel, OnePlus 3T. All these phones have come with AMOLED displays because they don't sell as much as Apple, but they've never produced as many as what Apple's going to request from them. So this is why you're getting an OLED display, while it's only going to be on the highest version as well. All right, that being said, a lot of people are also questioning about this whole ditching the Lightning for USB. That is not going to happen. Now, here's the thing. The Washington Journal is a great source. So, and they've been right a lot. They've also been wrong a lot, though. And here's the thing. Apple would not do this. Now, I will say this. It would make sense. I would love Apple for this. It would help the industry make standards for everything across the board. You would see a surge in USB-C to everything. USB to HDMI, USB to full to SD card slots, USB to micro SD card slots, USB to full USB, USB to charge, all these different things, and it would be amazing. But Apple would lose too much money from it. Apple makes money off of Lightning cables, so that is the biggest reason why they won't do it, because they make money off of a proprietary plug. Now, this would even help Apple users. Their own customers would love this, because then you have one charging plug for your MacBook as well as your iPhone. It just makes too much sense. But at the end of the day, Apple would lose money, and that's why they're not going to do this. At least not this year. Look, could it happen in the future? Maybe. But it's just not going to happen this year. Apple would lose too much money, and that's the main reason why they won't do it. Now, that being said, Apple is getting wirelessly charging. It's one of the main reasons why this phone is glass on glass. So you're going to have a glass backing on here so you can finally have wireless charging. The reason why wireless charging is so good is because your battery won't go bad after a full year. So over time, your battery life sucks because you have charged it plug-in wise. Wireless charging doesn't have this issue. I've explained that in other videos. If you ask in the comment section, I'll explain again. But it won't go bad because that's so. Wireless charging is the way to safely charge overnight, and that's a big win for Apple to finally get it. It will be a Qi standard, and Apple entered in the Qi Standard Wireless Charging Alliance already this year, so it points a good method to do that. Also, the Apple Watch does use a version of Qi Wireless Charging, but they put an extra chip so you have to use their charger, which of course they might do with this as well. Augmented reality is another indication that could be on the iPhone X. However, it will not be big if it is. Apple just does not have enough research and time into AR yet, but they are looking for it. This is why people that ask me every week, is Apple going to have their own VR headset? No, Apple is not interested in VR, they're interested in AR. So this is what AR is, or if you ever played Pokemon Go, that used AR. So it puts a fake thing in real life. That's the idea behind augmented reality. And it could be really cool to see what they will do, but as of right now, it looks like it's not yet ready. This might be something that might be a small upgrade next year, again in their 3-year plan. And so yes, it will be a glass-on-glass phone. It will be very reminiscent of more of an iPhone 4 backing and front with a iPhone 6 or 7 curvedness. So that's what you're getting with the iPhone X. If you have any questions, ask in the comment section down below. Again, this is just an overview of it. I do have more details on these products, but it's just an overview for it. That being said, let's move to the next phone, which is in Samsung's category. So first I'll go over the first one, which is, again, the one that a lot of people are anticipating, but it's not actually the biggest phone they're coming out with. Well, maybe. So the Galaxy Note 8 is coming out. Samsung has actually stated the Note 8 was coming out since the Note 7 debacle, but the media has spun it around saying like, oh, are they really going to release a Note? They've always planned on releasing a Note. The Note is considered the greatest, if not one of the greatest devices every single year. It would be stupid to get rid of that name, and we don't know how much the backlash has hurt it. Right now, the Note 8 is really in prototype phase, so they are not set on a version of it yet, most likely. Samsung and Apple go through many different versions of a phone, and they take time to pick out which one. Now, while Apple starts producing their parts in June, Samsung typically waits till a month or two before, meaning they won't actually produce most of the parts till July if they release in August, as they did with the Note 7. So there are, only a month ahead of time, and the reason is because Samsung manufactures their own products, whereas Apple has a lot of different companies manufacture their products. So that's why we get leaks from Apple and everything they're going to have in June, whereas with Samsung, you're not going to get it till most likely July. So just to give you an idea of how the behind the scenes works. So for the Note 8, though, you can expect that the code name, we got it. It's like a glacier in, I forget where it is. I want to say Norway. If you know where this glacier is, let me know. But it's a lake it's a glacier lake, essentially. And so we're guessing that, you're going to see what's on top, but there's so much more underneath. And that's the whole idea behind the Note 8 concept because of their project name. Because the S8 Plus is going to be a 6.2 inch display, you can guess that this will be it too. And although that might seem like a huge phone, the phone size is staying roughly about the same size as the other one. I think it will be a 6.3 inch display. One, because for a 8-year device, that will make it 1 inch bigger than the first Note. So I think that would be quite fitting. It could be 6.5 if they manage to narrow down even more bezel, but I really think that's what's going to be it. I think it's going to be between that 6.2 to 6.5. My guess is 6.3. Maybe it could be 6.5, but I'm guessing 6.3 because the original Note was 5.3, and it was considered the hugest phone at the time, and now 5.2 is like the standard phone size. All right. That being said, many people are wondering one thing, and I do believe it will be true. I do think it's going to have a dual camera setup. I do believe that. I do believe Samsung's holding off on that. Oppo just released a 5x zoom on a phone. I'm going to reach out to them because I really want to review that, but 5x zoom is the standard point and shoot camera zoom. As a person that used to do a lot of photography back in the day, this is one thing that I have always missed in smartphone cameras. 2x is fine, it's cute, it's not real, it's not that much more zoomed in though. I know the iPhone 7 Plus, the Huawei Mate 9, these phones have this 2x zoom, but if you can get 5x, that's a huge amount zoomed in, and it's a really great feature if you're traveling. That's when you want zoom, is when you travel. I still take a point and shoot camera with me when I travel simply for that zoom. Oh, the Eiffel Tower's far away, zoom into it, get that perfect shot. Those are the kind of things when you want zoom. And, but the big thing about this phone that I'm worried about is if it will not have stereo speakers. That's the biggest thing I want from it. And let me know in the comment section down below if you want the Note 8 to have stereo speakers. Now, Samsung has purchased Harman Kardon, Harman, which now owns JBL, Harman Kardon, B&O, so they could have, and they are going to have AKG, I believe is the company name, speakers as they do on their tablet right now. So they're going to have better sound quality, but man, stereo sound is the biggest thing that's been missing from Samsung. Hopefully it comes in this next device. Now, the Galaxy X is the trump card. Now, here's the thing. Last year, I said that the Galaxy X was supposed to come out with the Note 8 because that's what everything was pointing towards and Samsung was pushing towards. Their goal was to get the Galaxy X phone out by the Note 8 launch. However, this was back in, I want to say, May of last year, which means we did not have the actual Note 7 thing happen yet. Now, the question is will the Galaxy X still come out with the Note 8? It is scheduled to either come out between August all the way till February of next year. So it's looking like it will come out. This will finally happen, but we do not know when it will happen. And this is the Galaxy X is going to be the first bendable phone. So you're going to have a bendable screen. Batteries can bend, but those are still too expensive. So I think we're going to have a flat surface still and a non-flat one. So more curvy kind of thing. But this is one concept behind it. This video came out over 3 or 4 years ago. And it's when actual carriers started carrying different products. They were like, holy shit, eventually screen protectors and cases are going to go away. We need to carry more accessories. That's why all these Verizons, AT&Ts, T-Mobile, Sprints have a lot of different accessories that they never had, because when they saw this 4 years ago, this was a game changer. Like, eventually, you will not have a phone that can break. This is also Samsung's answer to the iPhone X. Obviously, they know Apple's making the iPhone X because they're making the parts for it. So this is Samsung's answer to it. I think it will be announced in August either way, but if it will come out, I think at the earliest we're going to see this in October. I just don't see it coming out at the same launch as the Note 8. Let me know what you guys think after I talk about it and what the potential of this phone is. So, the Galaxy X isn't a possible name. It actually has been trademarked by Samsung. So I will actually move this just so you can see the trademark has already happened. Galaxy X is a phone that has been trademarked by Samsung. And although trademarks don't necessarily mean the exact product, it is pretty much a guarantee because all this stuff has been leading up to it, again, for over a year. Now, that being said, there are multiple concepts behind this. So there's 2 concepts mainly behind the Galaxy X phone. We don't know which one of these is real, but it's one of these 2. So the first one is a phone the same size as we have now. So the phone about this size, right? And you can actually fold it. Now this is really an interesting concept because it kind of brings back to the days of old with a flip phone. You're literally going to have a flip phone again kind of thing. And that would be interesting. I think that would get a nostalgia factor going. By the way, this phone, like the original Note Edge, is going to be a limited release phone. So it will be, again, around a $1,000 price point. So both of these companies are going to have a $1,000 product. So you're either going to have a phone that bends like this, or you're going, which again, there's lots of different concepts on it. And just to give you an idea, it won't be this thin. It will not be this thin. But just to give you an idea behind it, or the second version is going to be a phone this size that has a phone flip around and gets you a tablet-sized screen. Now, this is a far more popular answer for the Galaxy X. Again, is it ready yet? We do not know. But this is the idea behind it, that you will have a phone that flips around and that you get a tablet that's pocketable, which is crazy to me. The fact that you can get a 6-inch, or not 6-inch really, you're talking about probably an 8-inch screen in your pocket. That's amazing. And the fact that you can have that is pretty interesting. And again, although you might think this is crazy, if it's made and if it looks this cool, who wouldn't want this? Like, you're like, holy shit, that you look badass. Every time you would go inside of a Starbucks, every time you go inside of a store, anything, and you have that phone or viewing that screen, everyone's going to ask you questions. It's the same thing, actually, when I had the original Note Edge that came out, everyone was like, what is that? That's so crazy. Let me see. And all this. it was always a wow factor and it was always a conversation starter, and that's what this phone would be. I think this is the one I hope we will get this year. Again, it can come out any point until February of next year. So we could get this announced at CES of next year. That's how far back this is possible. Again, because of the whole Note 7 issue, it could have pushed it back that far. But the whole idea is that you get a phone that opens up into a tablet, and wouldn't that be the coolest looking thing ever? Alright guys, that is the entire video and all the products that are coming out this year from both Samsung and Apple. If you're wondering about like the Mac Pros or the MacBook Pros, I was really talking about more mobility. Macs will still come out in November, the same time they normally do. The announcement could be at the end of October, early November, and then it'll come out about the week or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. As for Apple's launch, they might be the second week of September, pushing up their launch earlier. For the first time last year, they went up to the third week of September instead of the last week of September. From what we're hearing, it will be the second week of September. So you could get, let's just pull this up so you guys can see, you could get an iPhone this year on the 15th instead of the 22nd. Normally, you would get it on the 22nd. This year, you could get it on the 15th, which means the announcement would be September 6th. Alright guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below about all of these devices. Which one of these four are you going to get, would want to get? Share this video with everyone you know so that they can know exactly what Apple's coming out with this year. Because guess what? iPhone 8 is not coming out this year. The Note 8 actually is coming out this year. So that's the big misconceptions that a lot of people still don't realize. So please share this with everyone you know. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.